Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Harm's Way Podcast. I'm your host, Craig. Across from me, as always, my brother, Eric. He thought I was going to throw something in there. I really wasn't. I just want to say my brother, Eric.
I almost said in arms.
How's it going, Eric? How are you?
It's going.
It's going.
I'm doing good. Still waiting on that email to find out I'm not
adopted?
Not the father.
Oh.
But
Well, we both went family. That was weird. Not the father. Yeah, right. Don't say that. That's not funny.
yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm just kidding. I don't really have much today, man. A couple hot topics that we discussed briefly before the show. We're supposed to have a guest tonight.
Yeah, I'm still in like this weird funk where I'm like kind of like shell shocked by work and a bunch of shit going on right now. So like I get here and I'm like, I am not prepared at all.
Oh, that's fair. Tuesdays are my worst day at work, workload wise. Meaning I have all of my accounts are trying to force feed orders in after lunch because a lot of them are West Coast and further Midwest.
Yeah.
A couple time zones away from us or a time zone away from us. So by the time our lunchtime rolls around, they're just ramping up to submit POs and just fist fuck me with orders, which is fine.
Yeah,
but
good business.
yeah, whatever. But it was light. It was up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I really didn't. I had some time to think about some stuff, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'll be more prepared for Friday and Sunday. We have a guest lined up. The guest that was supposed to be lined up for this episode, a new fan, but a childhood friend, old school friend. Well, we'll talk about him more when he's on, actually.
Did you remember that show Boy Meets World?
Yes, unfortunately.
There's an older brother.
Yeah.
Somebody at work today was telling me that the older brother is starting it's like an American Idol contest, but it's for voice acting. Do you know anything about that?
No.
I didn't look it up, right?
That's so his older brother is this Joey, right? Damn it. They're child actors from like the 90s and 2000s and stuff.
Yeah.
They grew up and they've been, I can't remember. Rachel knows all their names. She'd be the one to ask, but yeah. Coincidentally enough, do you remember in the later seasons of that, the red-haired chick? Oh, you didn't watch it that far?
No, that was a little bit before my time.
There was a red-haired chick.
That was like Freaks and Geeks. It was a little bit too. Missed it by about 5 years.
Yeah.
It was like 98, 99.
There's a red-headed chick in...
Was she hot?
Yeah, she's...
Was she pale as fuck?
Pretty... Yeah, oh, calm down, man. Get the fucking Scottish genes going. Or Irish.
Irish.
Yeah. But it turns out she did porn. Later on. Boy Meets World was like Disney, so.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She was very smart. Huge tracts of land.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because of porn.
Yeah, of course. Duh. Definitely seen that. No, yeah. Boy Meets World. I started watching, Rachel had me watch, they did the updated version of it, Girl Meets World or whatever, a couple years back.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, they tried to keep the same premise, same theme and everything, and it was just, it fucking missed. Like, it was just different times. You know how they do that? They bring a show back when there's been like 20-year gap or whatever, and it's just like, you just can't really relate to it anymore. Because the shit, like, I mean, even in the shit in the original one, I couldn't really relate to because they were fucking old. But.
The modern setting, do they kind of miss the mark with that a little bit?
Yeah, it didn't translate. I think that would be the biggest thing is that...
was it just a show about just like a normal suburban home?
Oh, was it a white privilege show? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm saying, was it just kind of...
Yeah, it was real. Their problems weren't really like... I don't know how to describe it.
With the background of all the fucked up shit going on nowadays, and how
there were
how
about texts and shit.
Yeah, how everybody's doing, it doesn't really fit, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need like people are out there worrying about where their next meal's coming from, and these people are complaining because their friends don't text them back fast enough, and they need a safe space, and it's different, man. It's different times.
Space.
Yeah, it saves like
I need to
everybody's
save
affected.
space on my hard drive
And
because I got a new porn star to look up. Just kidding.
Get your
That
Irish
was a
Spring
bit of a-
going.
That's a bit of a stretch. That wasn't a real funny joke. Anywho,
It's alright. It didn't make me uncomfortable.
no, it just wasn't that funny. Yeah, I don't have much other than this week's not gonna be bad. Next week's gonna suck.
Where? What's next week?
Oh, I also gotta work Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Why? What's Saturday?
We're starting an overhaul on one of my lines.
No, I mean, what were we supposed to do Saturday?
Nothing. It's just gonna be.
Are you still
it's just
down?
gonna be shit.
Oh no, that's fine. I'll help you with
Friday's
the table.
episode. I'm gonna try to get that uploaded Friday, but
I'll help you with the table as soon as I can, or as soon as you can.
oh, that yeah, we'll worry about that later.
Take our time. And then
Yeah, like in a couple weeks, because I'm probably gonna have to work next Saturday too.
Thursday, do you want to go out and give the money and get the membership to that club? We can wait till next week if you really want. I really don't care.
Yeah, let's just wait.
Okay.
Let's not do it now. That's one more thing to worry about. I don't
Yeah.
want to fuck with.
No, this weekend Rachel's off. I have a birthday thing to go to, I think, and then something else that my wife's gonna remind me about later. Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds about right.
I had to start keeping a book. Okay, so I mean, we can talk about this. How your mind and memory goes.
You mean effectively managing your life?
Yeah, can you give me another one?
Yeah.
I actually had to
Well, I was
start
thinking-
keeping a planner at work.
I was thinking about this
like
today about. I was thinking about this today about booking guests, having a calendar,
yeah.
maybe like an online calendar.
I mean,
that
if
we can both look at.
If we can get people to stick,
Well, that's the thing. If we start booking people,
yeah.
and somebody's like, "Oh, I got to reschedule." Well, you're fucked, man, because we're booked for
Well,
the next 2 months.
that's what I mean. Cause
It is really fucking annoying though when people are like, "Oh, I want to do the next one,"
yeah,
and they
can't.
never can.
I mean, if anybody understands a fucked up, weird, random schedule, it's me. So I don't. I'm.
Yeah, but like,
It's just I'm gonna stop giving people segues and openings in the prior show.
take a minute to fucking think about it. That's the thing. Take a minute to think. Don't just be like, "Oh, I want to be on the next one." Take a
Yeah.
minute to think about it, because I can already tell you right now, you're gonna fucking reschedule.
Yeah. Well,
There's
and
a-
I don't know if it's. I think it's rescheduling because of life issues. It's not rescheduling. I don't think we've had a person cancel because they
what
straight
I'm saying.
panicked.
Don't-
Like, oh my god. You
Well, that's
know?
what I'm saying. Don't make it short notice and be like, "Oh, I want to be on the next one." Put it out a month, okay?
Yeah.
Figure out what you got going on, and then yeah, because eventually, if we do get like 5 or 6 people booked or whatever for the next month and a half or something, and then people start
That'd be
trying
so
to fucking
crazy.
start trying to fucking change all of a sudden, then it's just gonna be a logistical nightmare. So
Yeah. We'll have to. Well, it'd be awesome if we had a.
secretary,
Yeah, a receptionist too. I was thinking that.
producer.
Well, all that. Yeah, but we're not famous or rich yet.
I left a standing offer to Gary.
Yeah, but
That's not gonna happen.
no, it's for lack of a better phrase, it's gotta have somebody that doesn't have much going on in there.
Yeah, I got to go find like a college student at Malone and who's like majoring in like marketing or something, and be like, "Hey, you want an internship? It's unpaid."
Mitch.
I would never do that to somebody though.
No.
No, I'd have to pay them.
I mean, unless if we had a separate location and we were, actually drawing in enough income to pay somebody, that would be sweet. Especially if we could pay somebody to do editing. We would basically
We
just
can
turn
hire
it
a
into-
maid, get them to do the producing.
Can you
That wasn't a dig. I was trying to be economical.
run Lightworks? No, I can clean your fucking furniture. That's what I can do. No, we're fine. I do agree with you. Scheduling people sounds good. I'll get another calendar that we can keep down here and start booking. Mine on my desk at work is dope. Excuse me, because as you know, a part of my New Year's resolution is to actually go to my doctor's appointments and actually try and be a healthy human being. So that starts the year off with I think from next week to the end of March, I have 8 doctor's appointments I have to go to.
Apparently, I told my buddy at work numerous times about me taking you to get scoped. Like enough times that everybody who asked where I was the other Friday,
They asked how I was doing.
He was like, he's taking his brother to get scoped. Telling everybody, Also, the question came up. I don't know how it was just done through great suspicion or whatnot, but apparently my boss asked this guy, like, "Is Eric doing an interview on Wednesday?"
Shut up.
And I was like, how the fuck did he know?
Not how did he know? He probably
Because I didn't
guessed,
tell him.
Eric.
Well, the thing is, I'm not, like, if he was surprised, I'd be like, you're an idiot.
Well, that's what I mean. He might
I'm not surprised
assumed
that he assumed. I don't know, but like, yeah.
I don't know. When you bring up your boss, I just want to start punching stuff.
Yeah, I know. You usually mutter cuck and then leave the room.
I do. That's my MO, and I hope he sees this.
Oh, but what I was getting at was Gary confirmed for the 29th.
Yeah, you told me about that.
So in a couple weeks, Gare Bear himself,
The Gare Bear.
the OG, the Russian bear himself,
Gare
not Vladimir
Bear.
Putin.
You said the 29th, right?
Yeah, 29th. He will be joining us.
Yeah, we'll get that on a calendar down here. We'll start filling that stuff in and writing people in. We had a little bit of a guest right there.
A little one.
Little one. I knew something was up when the door opened, and I just heard like one step
Yeah.
every 30 seconds.
Did you tell him we were doing?
No, that's
Yeah,
partly my
yeah.
fault. I just can't.
He probably had no idea.
Because he jumped off the couch, and I said, Uncle Icky's here, and I think he ran to the door to see you, and you come in and went right downstairs, and he was like, "There's nobody here." I was like,
Yeah,
"He'll see you after."
yeah. I'll say hi to him after. I just came down here to get set up and shit.
No, that's fine. I came down here. I actually picked up dinner at
I'm getting more.
Wild Bill or Smith Market on the way home.
I'm getting more efficient in doing this shit. That's something that's like, I'm starting to, when I do something like I kick off the video rendering or something that I was like, all right, this is done and it's running.
Yeah,
I'm immediately thinking of what else do I need to do now.
yeah, that's good.
It used to be I just like stare at the wall for 2 hours or something like that. But now I'm like, okay, I gotta get laundry in, gotta get in the shower, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. I'm doing like 5 things in that 2 hours.
Yeah,
I'm really starting to find out how to double up on tasks. Like when I'm driving home, I'm also like clipping my toenails and shit.
that's a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke.
That's a good one, but I'm like, I wouldn't do that in a Civic. Like,
I was thinking about that today though, like how much time we spend in traffic and shit. And I'm like, man, this is just a waste.
do you have traffic out your way or not?
Yeah, I get
You do hit some?
well, I got lined up behind 4 cars that were doing 15 under
Oh, that's
today. And I don't want to be that guy. There was a truck in front of me that went around.
See,
That went around 3 cars on this one stretch where you can pass. And I was like, I'm not dying today.
no.
1 car's fine. 2, maybe if I'm desperate. But any more than
You
that,
gotta be
it's like,
careful
nah.
passing because what pisses me off is when you pass, that person that you're passing, and I don't know if it's to be a complete and utter cunt or like what, but they speed up every time.
Depends who it is. If it's old people, they don't do that.
I've seen
If it's some John Boy redneck, they typically do that. Because
Every
they want to
age.
act like cunts.
Women are real bad at it, and I don't understand if there's just a
Every woman on the road,
thought in the back of their head that just wants to kill every
Driving
male
today?
or what.
as part of their driving course, they should have to get pit maneuvered into the ditch and roll the fucking car. They should have to experience that once.
So I do hate
how
to say this.
fucking stupid they can be. Because you're playing around with a 5,000-pound bullet that can kill somebody.
If you drive,
And it's not fucking funny when you think, oh, I'll be fine. Or, I just think it's like, never mind.
I'd like a woman's perspective
I don't
on
wanna
this
do that
actually, because I will say that 99%, and that is a legit statistic, and men aren't spared from this either. There's plenty of male shit bag drivers out there, but 99% of the women that I see on the road, whether I'm passing or within visual distance, I can see what they're doing within their vehicles. They're all on their phones, and I don't know. I know women that have died from accidents being on their phone while driving, And I plug mine in, I put it in a seat. If something happens, I have Apple CarPlay that plays. I can have it read messages. I can do talk to text. I can do all that stuff. And I understand a lot of people don't have those options. Meaning you're driving an older vehicle, or it just doesn't have that, or what. But that's dangerous as fuck, and people don't care. The women that I see they're not even hiding it. Like you said, the one you saw with dude, like lady had it in her lap. I see people with it just up. And they're texting, or they have like their knuckles on the middle of the steering wheel, and they're on the highway doing 75, and they're just texting. And I don't know what it's gonna take, excuse me, for people to fucking knock that shit off, because everyone knows somebody who's died in some type of vehicle accident.
They just passed a law in Ohio that made I know it covers texting and driving. I think it covers talking on the phone while driving too. It's a primary offense now. It's not a secondary offense, which means they can pull you over for it. Before they couldn't.
They couldn't use it as probable cause or anything.
Yeah, you had to do something else that was a primary offense, I guess, for them to pull you over.
That makes sense.
But now they've made it a primary
But
offense.
how many cops are going to follow through with that shit? Because
I don't know. We're also talking about women, and they statistically, they get way fewer tickets than we do.
Oh, 100%. Anything with, tits and tits and the ability to blow you is going to get they're going to get more warnings.
Yeah.
And that's going to sound sexist as fuck, I'm sorry, but
I know. Hey, what's that tell you about cops?
Dude, I'm 33, I think. I'm 33, and I've been pulled over, we'll say above 10 times. We'll say, we won't go that far. But I've been pulled over above 5 times, right? And I've never gotten a warning, ever, in my life. I've never. I've had a fucking ticket every time. And speeding from anywhere from, 10 over to 15 over. I've never had reckless ops or anything like that. But I've never gotten a warning. And I mean, I know that you can probably talk to most women. And I think the only caveat to this that I know of is my wife, because she's definitely gotten a ticket every time. But I know most women you talk to, hey, how many times have you been pulled over? Oh, have you ever gotten a warning? Oh, yeah, I get warnings all the time. That's not something to be proud of. Like, that's a broken system. Like, if you're pulling over, if you're speeding. And that's the thing that kills me is you talk to a police officer, and I'm not going to sit here and shit on the blue. Police and me, we have our own issues. But cops are a fucking joke sometimes, because they will lie right to your face and be like, oh, I've never given a woman a warning based on how she looks, or based on the probability of her touching my penis. You're a fucking liar. I don't care if you have Andy Griffith himself, or whatever
Andy Griffith,
fictional cop, the do-gooder. Any male cop has given warnings because of a woman looking good.
Yeah, man, we've all seen Super Troopers.
What kills me is the cops that pull women over because they look good. And they make something up, like, oh, you went left of center or something like that's illegal, you fucking
That's
boner.
weird. That's predatory.
Oh, there is something I do want
That's
to
predatory.
talk about. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just make this episode about shitting on cops, because I really don't like cops. That's a lie. Not all cops are bad. But we are getting dangerously close to the point where people start assuming that all cops are bad. We are. Right? What just happened in Tennessee? Did you hear about that?
No.
A female officer got caught.
Yes. I did hear about that.
She got caught having relations. That's the best way that I can put it.
She was fucking.
She was getting trained, bro. She
was married too.
8 different police officers. Oh, she was married to a fucking wildlife officer. Like, dudes, I hope her husband's a saint, and I hope he gets a lot of trim out of this after he leaves that fucking hoe. But she got caught, and this was going on for a long time. Shit came out of the woodwork. I think 4 officers were fired. And keep in mind that every officer, I believe, to the best of my knowledge of all the shit I've read, every officer that she cheated on her husband with was also married. So you have 8 cops in one precinct. They were township PD.
I'm surprised they didn't have like an OK Corral shootout in the fucking locker room or something.
I know
over this
a lot
shit.
of them were having threesomes with her in gangbangs and
Oh
stuff.
my god!
She was having
Wow.
Tell
me more.
threesomes with some of the officers and their significant others.
Wow.
Yes, and then her complaint and the reason these guys kept doing it was because she told them that her and her husband were in an open marriage. And when all this came out, he was like, "We've never talked
I was
about
going to
being
say,
in an
was
open
he
marriage."
having threesomes with?
So he got cucked, but he didn't mean to get cucked. He
got
shouldn't have
betrayed.
been cucked. Yeah. So, and I haven't heard anything about him leaving her. So, like, I would assume, but maybe he is a cuck, or maybe he's just, I don't. Maybe he's your boss. And so
No, I saw a picture of the guy. I'd never seen him in my life.
it was a joke. Fucking hate him. God, I hope he watches this. I fucking hate you. So yeah.
I do too.
So
Yeah, gangbangs and. Yeah, it's fucking
horrible.
wild.
So as my ratio, as I'm talking about, is my ratio is usually it's usually a quarter, 1 to 4, I think. For every 4 shitty cops, there's 1 good cop.
I'd say yeah.
That doesn't make any sense because I just said the majority.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
That was 20%.
I'll say
For every
50-50.
4, there's 1.
I'll say 50-50.
No,
No, that's not fair either.
no. I think what you said.
2 to 1. Let's do 2 to 1.
75% are bad. 25% are good.
I don't know.
I think if there exists a true number,
I feel bad if there's a cop that's going to
I
listen
think
to
it's
this.
pretty.
Would you say a trooper?
Maybe he's one of the good ones.
That's fair, because even the ones that are...
We got 25% chance.
Even the ones that are, like hardcore narcissists, they're going to listen to this and be like, yeah, I'm the good one. Even though you're not. So we're good. Let's keep talking.
Maybe if they keep telling themselves that in the mirror every morning, they'll actually be
No,
a good cop.
because they've had years.
Yeah, how much can you not
Obviously,
come back
Eric
from?
and I are making jokes about this. We do not hate cops. We are not the people.
I don't hate cops.
We don't support what they do all the time. I know a lot of good cops. I do. I also coincidentally know a lot of shitty cops.
Let's be honest. I think you look at the general population. You give somebody that kind of power and authority, right? Do they have the constitution necessary to not abuse that? On average, the answer is no.
I think once you
think
abuse
the
it the
answer's
first
fucking
time,
no.
it gets easier every time.
You're either going to do it or you're not.
I'm looking at it as a slope. I'm not looking at it as black and white. I'm looking at it
I
as...
see what you did there.
I'm
I'm just kidding. I don't even know what I...
Black and blue. I'm not looking at it as black and blue like you are. Fuck, I'm doing it to myself. Black and white.
Yeah, the cars are black and white. So yeah, that kind of did make sense.
I'm looking at it as a slope, meaning almost like a training day kind of scenario. Like you're
I don't know if I ever
protecting
saw
and serving.
Training Day.
Wow, dude. Okay,
That
just
might
like
have been one of the ones that slipped through the
just
cracks.
how you shit on me for Maverick.
Maverick.
Flying.
Top Gun?
Top Gun. I'm gonna shit on you for Training Day because
You
I
never
think
saw Top Gun?
no, I've seen bits and pieces. Remember we talked about this? I've never sat. And
I don't remember shit. I don't remember
that's fair.
conversations I had yesterday
Training
morning.
Day is a classic though. You need to Denzel. Oh man, Ethan Hawke. You have to watch Training Day. So I look at it as a scenario where your first couple years on the force, you have
Your formative years?
yes, exactly.
No.
You have several choices, and if you fuck up, I'm trying to be careful what I say.
That noise you made, it was like you died. Just right there.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
Just hit me right in the gut. I think you have, if you fuck up and if you choose to go dirty, it gets easier to go dirty. You don't hear too much about them, snapping back and being like, oh, that one time I took that money, or that one time I fucking
It's like
kneecapped that
discovering
guy.
masturbation.
That's a slipperier slope, I think.
I see what you did there.
Damn, I'm full of them. So come to slippery, people. But
Explicit.
I had to say it. Yeah. I think it gets easier for them, and I don't know. What I'm trying to say really doesn't translate to our ratio or lack thereof. Actually, I don't know. Like I know good cops and I know bad cops, and I don't know the bad cops in like they work for the cartel or anything like that. But I know bad cops like they're shitty dudes and probably shouldn't be cops, and therefore it probably translates to the job. The power thing, I think you're 100%. And they try and do studies about this and all that. The power goes to their head and it fucks people up. It does.
I think that's honestly most people. I'd probably say that's 90% of the population.
But I don't think this scenario in Tennessee that we're talking about is anything about power. I think there's something wrong with this woman, whether it be sex addiction,
she's a whore,
anything like that. Yeah, and I think the cops that weren't in open relationships with their wives, I think they just contribute to like how easy it is for people to cheat on their wives. Like, maybe you shouldn't have got married if it's that easy to cheat on your wife. And I saw a picture of this girl, dude.
Again, that's...
I don't think she's very attractive. I don't know what the whole thing was about. Maybe she gave really good rubbies? I don't know. I
don't know. But we live in an age where...
She was enthusiastic.
Very vigorous.
I got rug burns.
Very vigorous. Toothy.
She salivated a lot.
Yeah. But we live in an age where it needs to not be okay to whore around anymore. And
in certain scenarios.
I think
if you were talking about if everyone was single in that scenario. Now her scenario, you can't get past her scenario because she got caught fucking in the station, in the gym, on duty, duty for booty, and now she is like a meme queen where people are just fucking using her all over, and it's fucking great. But so she did enough, obviously enough to get fired because you can't really.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to be a cop, and you literally can't
keep the dick out of you.
Yeah, you physically can't function on your job because you just have dick and around you
like when
constantly.
When you're patrolling and rolling in dick.
It would be like, can I sit at my computer and do 8 hours of work if I have somebody just slobbing my knob for 8 hours under the desk? No.
Replace the keyboard with just dicks.
Just handlebars.
She had so many dicks around her, she looked like a porcupine.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird. All right? So, like, I don't know. I think seeing that, because I was like, okay, what was this? This had to have been like 1 or 2, maybe 3 cops. I read the article and it was like 8. Yeah. 8 fucking cops. So, of that PD, if you were to say that most of that police force was shitbags and bad cops, or dirty people, or dirty cops, whatever you want to call them, and I don't know if dirty cops translates to banging somebody else, whatever. Some people might be like, oh, they were really good cops. Well, yeah, but they're shitty people. And I think if you're one, then
yeah, I think you gotta be a decent person, or you gotta be a good person before you can be a fucking cop. It's supposed to be a position of public trust.
You can't be raw dogging somebody's fucking wife while you have a wife, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go protect and serve. Like, no, Skeletor.
You know where that was going too. Like, she was gonna get knocked up, and then she was.
I don't know
her husband was gonna think it was.
This went on for a long. Oh my god. Yeah, 2 of the guys had year-round tans though, so like he would know the baby wasn't his.
If it. 2 out of 8. Say okay, there's a 25% chance he would get.
2 out of 8.
Would get lucky and no.
And then I think 2 were Hispanic, so she was literally turning herself into a melting pot.
Oh my god!
She turned herself into a melting box, if you will.
Oh, that's gross. It's not okay to be a whore anymore.
Well, so
it's
this
not.
police.
Who was the guy that said most of society's problems would be solved if girls had to walk around with their body count stamped on their forehead?
Ooh. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a
no, because I think the guys
but
the guys are to blame too.
Men are.
I think men in general are to blame too.
Well, so I need to look up the statistics.
You need to watch who you're putting your dick in.
Because I think I don't want to say this too much, but I watched a couple things, and I would assume that those people researched the statistics, but it was something like 70% of marriages that end were because of the woman cheating. But
yeah, they initiate divorce much higher rate than men.
Yes. Well, this went into.
Are you talking about general population?
Yes,
You're talking about cops.
No,
Because
cops is
the old
way worse.
the old statistic 10
cops
years
is horrible.
the old statistic 10 years ago was that 40% of law enforcement marriages result in domestic violence.
Well, I think they're like
So-
50-50. They have so as far as divorce rates
I'm
go,
gonna guess that number's gone up
divorce
in the last
rates
10 years.
divorce rates go oil field, military, first responders, police and fire, and everything.
But you know, how we were talking earlier, like what's the threshold of good cops versus bad cops? It's like, it used to be you start at 40. It's probably a bit higher than that.
Are you talking about divorce rate right now?
No, I'm talking about what's the ratio of good cops to bad cops?
Oh, 40.
I used to say, okay, it's at least 40.
40% bad?
Yeah, because 40% domestic violence, that number's probably gone way up.
That's a horrible statistic to have as a cop, though. Like, you ever see people were posting those things on Facebook that were, it was like the Blue Lives Matter sticker, a 9-line apparel shirt, and then Oakley glasses, and it said, "All right, man, we get it. You beat your fucking wife," and it was like really.
Oh,
funny.
the starter pack. You beat your wife's
Yeah.
starter pack. One of those
Yeah,
memes.
but I didn't know that was derived from an
I don't even
actual
know what-
statistic.
I don't even know what 9-line apparel is. You've mentioned that twice now.
It's like it's meant to be for military people, but like a lot of the people that didn't join the military buy it and wear it, and they're like patriotic about it.
Oh.
But it's meant to be. Yeah, it's. I don't have anything 9-line. I'm not. I would never. That's not me. Most of my clothes come from Walmart.
What does 9-line mean, though?
I don't know if it's a military term. That's because I didn't fucking serve.
I don't know.
Anybody listening that was in the military, if you fucking know what 9-line means, please hit us up and let us know. I just know that those memes were around for a while, and I steer clear of it because I don't beat my wife. I'm not saying if you buy a 9-line shirt, you're gonna walk home and beat the fuck out of your spouse, but stranger things have happened, and it's even worse if your name's Kyle. But that's another statistic. Why are you in pain?
Because when you start talking about like the military adjacent people,
Kyle?
I knew a Kyle in college. He was a nice guy though. He would never beat his wife.
Allegedly.
He wasn't married at the time.
You don't know, man.
I don't know.
Kyle could be doing a
No.
Stanton County for popping his old lady because
I
she
would put
undercooked the
I would
fucking
put money
macaroni.
on he would, if he was married, he would never abuse
No, that's
his
fine.
spouse.
And that's
But
not
it
a
was funny
that's-
because I thought it was funny because he used to go work out with the ROTC guys and all this and just like
Holy
talk
mother
up
of God.
talk up the military all the time. We're like, Kyle, what are you doing here? Like,
Don't bring up ROTC.
why'd you go to school? Like,
ROTC's
why didn't you just join?
even worse, man.
I just used to wonder that.
Like we
You're
get
so
it.
gung ho about the Marines. Like, why didn't you just fucking join? Why didn't you join before you went to school?
Like,
You could have got it paid for.
Okay, the ROTC shit is funny to me because it's like you go through all that. Like, okay, we get it. You're gonna fucking join up,
Snooty cunts.
and then you're like, you're gonna join the fucking Air Force anyway. Like, what's the point? Because all of them that
was
were in
like-
our school, they joined the Air Force.
Well, the school I went to is, the majority of the ROTC people were Air Force, and they were the snootiest fucking... I take that back. There was one guy I knew, he's very, very straight up. He was very gentleman-like,
Yeah.
and I always liked being around him. He's the only one, though. The rest of them all acted like cunts.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, a lot of them
So,
come from...
back to the
wealthy
cop
families
thing.
and shit.
I don't know,
Shit,
man.
a lot of those people probably
I just
aren't even in
think-
the military anymore. Well, no, they're officers. They probably, I don't know.
Well, they probably did their 4.
Well, no, officers go for a lot longer.
Oh,
I think
OCS?
No. I mean, if you go into ROTC and you get
You go to OCS.
you get a commission or whatever, like those guys are going to be on like 7, 9, 12 years
But they're gonna-
stints. It's not a 4-year stint like
No, they're gonna also. You have to sign up for. I think 6 is starting. Again, I don't fucking know. I just know I've talked to enough recruiters and been in the recruiter's office enough that I learned a thing or two. But again, just join the fucking Air Force. Ugh.
It's funny, but everybody. I see all the memes online, and I've had a couple people at work say this to me before. When they get asked if they could do it all over again, would they still join up? And everybody always says, "I'd join the fucking Air Force."
Air Force, yeah, 100%.
And I'm just like,
that's what everybody says.
wow, really? Like, I've had so many Marines say that to me, and I'm just like, Really? I mean, you did it. You fucking...
You're missing ligaments in your fucking knee. You got no cartilage left, and you got arthritis. You could have went through all that shit and still been able to run, 16 miles in a day.
It's just funny. It's
But
kinda
you would
like
have been paid better.
It's a humbling thing to hear, to come from the guys that did it. And some of the guys who've seen some shit. But
That's the one guy I want to get on the show. He said that too. And I asked him, I said, well, why would you have joined the Air Force? And he's like, I'd still have, 6 feet of my intestines if
Jesus, fuck.
I joined the Air Force. And I was like, okay, that's valid. My bad.
Good God.
I'm sorry I asked.
You want another one?
One more.
Una más. Una más. Get through this week.
I gotta get a fucking fridge down here. Ow, fuck. So I don't know, I live my life by the steer clear of cops rules, honestly.
Well,
I try not to do anything wrong. And that might sound square as fuck, I really don't care. I'm not really gun running or fucking moonshining, but I started thinking about this today.
Most of
like,
them wouldn't care.
what do I teach my kid? Because I don't want my overall, and I don't want to call it a disdain. Excuse me, by the way. I don't hate cops or loathe them. Excuse me. But I certainly, if I'm out in public and I meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, I'm a cop," if we're all in a group and that one person is like, "I'm a cop," I hate to say it, but in that group for that night that I'm around you, I'm probably going to talk to you less. Out of everybody, unless I gauge who you are and I get a good feeling and we're into the same shit and I decide like, okay, this guy's a good guy, he most likely is a good cop. And that could be completely wrong, but if he's a good person, as what I can see it, because you can have a good person and a shitty cop. That doesn't mean a dirty cop. That means a shitty cop. You can have a cop that doesn't pay attention, or a cop that's just in it, until they hit their 20.
You could be bad at your job.
Exactly.
Does it still make you a bad cop?
To be a...
Yeah?
But not in the same way that Eric and I are
Does it
talking
make
about
you a
right
dirty
now.
cop?
Dirty cops...
I don't think so.
I think are the worst. I think if you're a dirty cop...
I think if you're a dirty cop, you're a bad cop.
You need a fucking...
I think you can be a bad... See, that's the thing. There's always that... Remember the Punnett Square?
That's what I was thinking about.
You have somebody that's a good guy who maybe
they can
just
change
like...
it.
There's something about the job that just doesn't fucking click with them.
Yeah.
Those kinds of people, I'm more willing to throw an arm around and be like, hey, buddy, you can do this. You just gotta,
Because they can change.
And maybe he doesn't get enough mentorship from older cops or something like that. That's not
shitty training.
That's not a dirty cop. That's somebody who's just maybe struggling with the job a bit.
They can jump back. They can jump back to that side of the Punnett Square and be good. Dirty cops can't. Whatever you do as a dirty cop that signifies you as a dirty cop, you can't take that back.
Yeah.
You can jump over and try, and you can, save people's lives and do all kinds of shit, but it's not going to cover up the fact that at one point in time in your career, you did some dirty, shady shit.
Well, that's the sad thing is that when they do dirty, shady shit, people's lives get ruined. Shit gets fucked up.
When they lie, I don't...
Yeah.
So I would... Their word always gets looked at as higher in the eyes of the law, in courts and whatever, media, whatever. But I don't think, and I did some research on this thing, because when people started coming out with defund the police, I was like, I didn't know what defunding and disbanding police meant. I automatically thought, like, people want to get rid of precincts, of police forces, and that's not necessarily what it is. What it is people want to fire cops to make them restart the process of background checks. When you go and you're trying to be a police officer, you have to go through some of the most extensive background checks there are. And they're trying to do that to weed out the people that there's things that are on that can be on your background as a cop that aren't necessarily going to flag that your own precinct's going to know that they happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so if you get fired and you have to start that process back over, they're gonna catch that shit and they're gonna dink you. And it's some pretty alarming stuff that you don't want on your record. You don't want people protecting and serving that have done these things before. So it's not necessarily firing all cops. It's firing them to make them go through this process again to wean out the ones that have
here's the
fucked up
thing.
shit.
You need cops.
Yeah, you do.
You need cops. I agree. There needs to be a better process to
Choose these people.
weed out the megalomaniac assholes.
That's a good way
The
to
whole
look at it.
defund the police was just fucking retarded. That was just Democrats being fucking retarded.
Yeah, I don't. That's something else. I don't. I can't really defend.
Because the thing
that.
is, okay,
That's dumb.
take away all the cops. What do you have?
I mean, you have basically the Wild West.
Anarchy.
again. Yeah.
It's
Minus
citizen
the
justice.
posses. And,
Citizen justice. And guess what? Nobody wants that.
no.
And I'm saying that to people who are Democrats or whatever that were in favor of that defund the police crap. You don't want what comes from that. That's the thing. They always talk from a position. They always talk from a position of, oh, we're hard and whatnot. No. You don't understand.
Can't rely on regular people to police themselves. That's the thing.
You know, everybody wants to, put down vigilante justice and whatnot. It's like, that's all you're going to have. You get rid of the cops, you think people are just going to allow other people to threaten them? Allow other people to break it? No. It's going to be fucking anarchy. What you get from getting rid of the cops is going to be way fucking worse. And you're not ready for it. You're not going to like it. You need cops. We need civil order.
Yeah. No, and that's the goofy thing that people right off the rip when they hear defunding the police and shutting down the police.
Yep.
They automatically think, oh, great, cool, And it's not, defunding is not going to help any. What is the money going to go? It's not going to fill fucking potholes, I can tell you that. If anything, and I don't want to say, some places need to pay more for policing. But I do agree with holding police more accountable, more training for situations. And I don't mean, that one pisses me off too when they're like, oh, let's train them to not shoot people. Or you can't train them to shoot people in the legs. You can't train them to not use deadly force, and you can't train them for 90% of the situations that they're in. There's no training for that.
There's a lot of these like tough gray area. You hope you're never in that situation, having to make split-second decisions.
How do you
shit like
train
that.
somebody for that?
The unfortunate thing is, we got a shitload of people out there that want to do nothing but test the fucking cops, and want to do nothing but fuck around with the law and stuff like that. And a lot of that puts those cops in those positions. So you have to put yourself in their shoes. It's a difficult job.
Very much so. One of the most
There's a lot
difficult
of
jobs.
these fucked up gray situations that are like, I don't know what I would do in that situation, You can train and train and train. I had a friend who was in the Army. His 2 cents was those guys need to be firearms training at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
He said they need to be training with
And
the
you'd be
firearms
surprised
at least 3
where
times a week.
the cutoff is for that. Like, if you went to inner city cops or even places where you think being a cop would be more stressful, the requirements aren't there. The requirements are, I mean, they do have to qualify and shit every year or whatever, but as far as like the required training and the keeping up with, just shit going on, it's not really there. And the laws aren't there because they don't want to pass it because they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay for that training.
The other thing is, I think a lot of these cops, you got to think about, even, we'll talk about city cops, really. A lot of these guys and gals go out every night and they see the same fucking bullshit from the same fucking heinous people.
And nothing changes.
No. I think it fucks them up.
Yeah.
I think it twists them up a bit.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how you deal with that. I don't know if these guys need to be scheduled different so that they have time to decompress. I don't know. I don't know how you deal with PTSD and shit like that. You get a lot of cops that come off like roid heads, and I think a lot of it is because they just broke. They just hit a point. The same. I'm serious. The same shit
yeah.
every night from the same fucking people, and they get, you know, in their community, right? They probably, even in our community, our local police department, there's probably usual suspects that these guys go out and they have to fucking deal with multiple times a month. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think we need to be harder on shitheads and criminals.
Well,
and
yeah,
but
people in general need to be held accountable.
It's part of going back to what we were talking about before. Do I think there's a lot of bad cops? I think there's a lot of dirty cops that you give them the chance though. But I think a lot of them get swept up in, like I said, whatever kind of fucked up mental state they're in because they gotta fucking
PTSD
deal with this
stuff,
shit.
Yeah.
They gotta have the pressure of being in these situations, and the law might not have their back. A lot of those situations, though, I don't blame the cop.
So now
I blame the fucking retard doing, you know, stupid shit.
We're running, pulling a gun. I don't know why you
pulling a gun, acting like you're pulling a gun.
That's suicide by cop to me. Doing that shit. But this is food for thought for your great thought that you brought up. Is do you think that situation, that PTSD, that stress, whatever breaks them or whatever, do you think that translates directly to the high rate of domestic violences in marriages for police officers?
Yeah, it could.
It has to. In my mind, it has to.
I guess I didn't do a very good job of, like we said earlier, you have bad cops, who's bad at the job, and you have dirty cops.
So now both you're talking about this,
but I don't know
change your ratio.
I don't know what criteria you would have to try to say this cop beat his wife. I don't know what criteria you would have to attribute that he did that to the stress of the job or shit.
That's fair.
I don't know. I lean more towards we get a lot of people that become we get a lot of men that become cops. Maybe might be a little psychopathic, sociopathic, unstable, narcissist, burnouts. Burnouts tend to find their way into the police.
And that's all shit that's not necessarily...
I shouldn't say tend. Burnouts will find their way into a police department sometime.
That's necessarily not shit that's going to get caught in a psyche valve, which is required by most...
Yeah. This is really something we should talk to Jordan.
Academies, I think, something like that.
This is something we should talk to Jordan Peterson about. Jordan, what do you think?
Good thoughts, though. Good.
Yeah, so maybe I'm being a little bit harsh by saying 75-25, but
that's why I want to ask you. Now that we've kind of,
I'm not condoning a cop beating his wife.
To me, beating your wife means that you're a shitty person. Therefore, you're a shitty cop. That is my criteria. Do you want to change your ratio now that we've talked about this and dove in and uncovered some stuff, though? Because what were we saying? You were saying
probably say 5 out of 7. I'm just kidding.
That's higher than...
I don't know. I mean...
Well, put it as a percentage.
It depends how you look at it, because like we said, there's bad cops and there's dirty cops. I feel for the guys that might not be doing the job so well, but they're trying really hard. But then you got the guys who are just like, don't give a shit. Pulling their gun every chance they get, shit like that.
I want to retract what I
think
said.
You're just a bad cop there. I don't think you're... When I think of dirty cop, I think you're taking bribes. Your buddies are calling you to go fuck up their neighbor or some shit. Or you're stealing evidence. You're fucking... You know, you make a drug bust and you're stealing drugs. You're stealing money.
See, I want to change what I said about being...
You're being an asshole
a
to your
lazy
neighbors
cop
you know
or a bad cop. Because I think if you're an indifferent or if you're a bad cop, so I think if you're bad at your job, let's just all lump it all together.
The hard
bad
part,
cop. Bad cop is dirty cop. Bad cop is shitty cop.
Okay.
Bad cop is only because that job can directly affect people's lives.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As citizens of the community, should we really accept that?
So I think now my percentage is going to go up.
Should we accept anything other than you be good at your fucking job and you be a clean, righteous, honorable human being?
See,
I don't think we should accept any less. You're right. It's 90-10.
We're fucking flipping. I think you don't have to be some crazy religious, God-fearing perfect example of a human being to be a good or great cop. I think you could have a loudmouth Irish piece of shit that is divorced and angry all the time, but when it comes to slapping that badge on, he or she is a great fucking cop.
Like
I think
Tommy Gavin.
exactly. I think he was a firefighter though. His brother was the cop.
Yeah, but
you
you just
can have that
described
type of
him like
person. I know
his
I do that.
personal life
Dennis
is
Leary
literally
came
a
to fucking
dumpster
mind.
fire.
Yeah.
But they'll be in the worst
And he
they'll be in
knows
the
exactly
worst
what to
building
do.
fire. It's a 5-story townhouse in Brooklyn or some shit.
And he's getting all
and
his guys
he's
out.
cool as a fucking cucumber. He's got one guy on each shoulder kicking down walls. Yeah.
Takes his
incredible.
mask off, he hasn't broken a sweat.
Fucking incredible.
I think you can have
That's
have people like
such
that.
a good show.
Now, I think you draw the line at like if that person wants to hurt people or is indifferent to crime or anything like that. But I don't think you have to be this cookie cutter, beautiful fucking human being all the time to be a great cop. I think being a good cop and being a good person, you're gonna see a lot of flip flopping from us on today's episode. But I don't think they have to be synonymous with being a good cop. Just because,
Honor.
yeah, that's the
Honor
thing.
that's worthy of the badge.
Yeah, or in Tennessee, they were all honor.
Oh, man.
That was the Bush Light talking. I'm sorry.
That was great.
I think sometimes there's synonymous. We're fucking learning more about ourselves than anything on this one. I think if I was to throw a percentage out there based on everything that we've talked about and everything, I'm gonna say 30% bad. But I will stick to what I said in the beginning, where the shit going on now and coming to light about law enforcement and everything, people don't know whether, is it 30% bad and 70% good, or is it 70% bad, 30% good at some points? I think in Tennessee, in that small town, obviously it's 30% good, 70% bad. I mean, you fire half your fucking force in a day, but of all the things we're saying, again, that is a hard job that Eric and I have never done and will never do. We respect what they do. We respect the good ones. And you do need to listen and trust law enforcement in certain situations. What were you going to say?
I'll concede a little bit. I'll say 60-40.
Okay.
60 bad, 40 good.
I fucking knew you were going to say that.
I have a lot of mistrust.
Are you serious, though? You
Oh,
think 60% of all cops are bad? Now, when we say bad, I'm not talking about little abuses of power where they use their fucking discount on stuff or they get free tacos. I'm talking about bad meaning that person is either going to get someone killed, not doing their job correctly, or taking bribes, money, or they're dirty.
Yeah, but a lot of those categories you can be doing one and not the rest. So I think it makes up a larger portion of the population.
No, okay.
If you ask me how many are taking bribes, okay, maybe it's 10%.
But that's only 10%.
If you ask me how many are going to get
dirty.
somebody killed, maybe it's...
I agree.
Maybe it's
See, I
10%.
shrunk mine because we lumped everything together. Yours got larger. That's fine.
There's also... I don't know. It's a complicated mess. Because, like I said earlier, you got the 40% that beat their spouses. Okay, how much of that is just broken, withered men because of the fucking shit they got to do?
Are you
day in
saying
and day out?
40% of all cops beat their wives?
It was...
I wanna see that
This was a
statistic.
statistic from like within the last 10 years that said 40% of law enforcement households and there's some form of domestic abuse going on.
Because then I would be wrong at 30. I would almost have to go 40, 60, and lump that 40%.
That's why I jokingly said
Maybe I'll
earlier
change.
it starts at 40
I'll change
and it's most likely higher.
If that is a true statistic still to this day, I will move to 40-60. Because I think if you beat your wife and you have a domestic or whatever, or even husbands. Husbands can be victims of domestic violence. They can. That's the sad part of today. You can, as a husband, you can be abused just as much as a woman. There's no shame in seeking help or that. I'm not gonna dick shame anybody, but you would have to, because you can't say that Officer Williams beats the well, that's a bad example because you know there's an Officer Williams out there. Officer Hat goes home.
Mr. Hat
Beats the shit out of his wife. Gets a domestic. He gets a slap on the wrist because he's a cop. So right there's a little bit of an abuse of power. And his wife doesn't leave him, so that's even bad on her part. But that person automatically in my book is bad. Now, the only caveat would be, does he get home? Is he got a history of being abused by his wife? Did his wife come at him with a knife and he had to kick her in the chest? Stuff like that.
Well, I also wonder about how many cops have done bad things that their colleagues know about, and the colleagues cover it up.
Keep it under wraps. Yeah. So if you keep it under wraps,
you're a dirty cop.
You're a dirty cop. You are. If you witness, and this was huge. You ever watch the movie Detroit?
No.
So, all right, I won't use that example, but yeah, back in the day, way back when, there'd be times when inner cities, bodies would show up every night, stuff would happen. Cops would go out and they'd patrol on foot, and they'd find somebody and they'd beat the fuck out of them. And they'd beat them up so bad that they would die, and they would just leave that person. They'd never call it in, just leave them. That went on, fucking, quite often. And these bodies showed up, and they thought they were just dead hobos. And really, what it was cops just beat the shit out of people on a night shift, walked away, and because their partner saw them do it, never talked about it ever again. There was a lot of unsolved murders that way. That was a common thing, to just nightstick the fuck out of somebody, or billy club, that's the reason they stopped using that shit, and bust some skulls open, and maybe you hit them once or twice too many times, and they stop breathing. You really think they're going to call that shit in? No, they're going to keep walking. And
yeah, that shit's fucked up, but
you go watch the movie Detroit, you see some real fucked up shit. Real fucked up
I'm starting to wonder, though, how different this conversation would be if my idea of justice was the law.
What's your idea of justice?
Just being really hard on criminals. I don't think we use the death penalty nearly enough.
We don't.
Especially, it's 2023.
I think
there's no mystery anymore.
I don't know what that is, that legislation, or I don't know if people in a jury can't be held responsible for taking someone's life when convicting them of something.
You want to hear the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard? I read an article one time about when the jury convicts somebody and the jury chooses the death penalty, the judge has to sign the death warrant. When they sign the death warrant, they break the pen. And their excuse is because that pen just killed somebody. Isn't that just the dumbest fucking thing you've ever heard?
Is that meant to keep the liability off the judge? See, I'd be a fucked up judge when I would keep all the pens.
It's a pen. No, but I read that and
I thought, fucking show them to everyone.
That is the stupidest, most just... I don't know if grandstanding's the right word, but that's just the dumbest fucking thing ever. It's why don't you just break your fucking neck?
Whoops, killed him.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
It's dumb as fuck.
I think it's to make them feel better about that, but it's
it would 100% be. It's to take the blame off of them and put it on the pen, which is an inanimate object.
If you gotta have that kind of
they're gonna chalk that one up to some history or.
That's just so stupid. If you gotta have that kind of validation, you probably shouldn't be a fucking judge.
No, not at all.
That's just stupid. Yeah. That was a good discussion. I think so. Did you watched the where they were following Flint Police Department? It was on Netflix a few
Flint?
years ago.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the water crisis.
Flint Town.
With the water crisis.
It was like a documentary, but they were following the Flint Police Department and all the shit they were going through.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The kid that was going through the academy. I can't remember his fucking name.
Is that the one where Flint had a white police chief, and they elected in a black female as mayor? No.
Oh, his mayor? I don't know.
And he was like, "Well, I'm fucking done." And then, literally a day later, the female black mayor fired him and immediately installed a black police chief.
Well, if it was, the white guy was a dumpster fire.
He was, but he was
The new police chief that
the
came in
first
was
thing he
trying
said. Well,
was trying to do the right thing.
but it was obvious there was some racial motivations.
Could be.
But it was like she.
Could very well be.
What I didn't like was they
There's a lot
showed
of
a
black
scene.
people that live in Flint.
They showed a scene where she was like meeting with the white police chief and was like, "Oh yeah, your job's safe," blah blah blah, and then immediately fires him. So
That could just be her being a politician.
scumbag.
Well, politicians tend to be scumbags.
Tend to be.
Um,
That might be 100%.
But yeah, they had the black kid that was going through the academy.
I think I vaguely remember that.
I watched that documentary had been like 4 years ago, 5 years ago at this point, Twitter. And it was last year sometime. I was watching an episode of Cops and he was on there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good to see.
He was on there and I was like, oh, thank God he's still alive.
Oh God. Well, yeah. 'cause
I had
people
that-
don't realize that when
I
they're
had that
going-
thought. I was like, it was kind of cool because you watch the documentary and like, you know, he's still going through like mentorship when he's on patrol and shit.
Yeah.
He's with another officer and whatnot. And, you know, he's got a certain air to
Demeanor?
him. Certain demeanor, certain personality. But then you see him on Cops. And he wasn't acting like a hard ass or anything.
It was
But you could
different.
just tell.
He was mature, probably.
Yes. You could just tell he was a veteran.
It's good. Good for him. Hope
And
he's still
it was
around.
like, you know, 5 years on the force or whatever.
You can look them up to see if they're still there.
Yeah.
But Flint, people forget this. They thought, you know, Flint's biggest issue was their water, and it actually wasn't. Because Flint had a horrible crime rate around the time of that. Which
Well, the water was a big thing, and
The
that
water
took way
didn't
too long to get
helped.
fixed.
Yeah, it didn't help any of that shit.
That was stupid.
We're actually at 102, Eric. If you want to, any closing arguments, closing thoughts.
We didn't get to talk about men using sex toys.
Oh, there's always next time.
There's always next time.
Justin, I hope you're ready.
Duh, we're not gonna drop that on you.
We will.
All right, maybe we will.
Drop that dong, motherfucker.
All right, you can find
Nowadays, it's more like, because I'm fat.
That's well.
Sorry.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
It's like a thicker average.
You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, other platforms like Deezer, Ghana, Harm's Way Podcast. Video will be uploaded to YouTube, Harm's Way Podcast, and Rumble, Harm's Way Podcast. TikTok and Instagram are both now Harm's Way Podcast. We were able to get the Harm's Way Podcast name for TikTok. Don't know why that didn't work before, but
Because I finally downloaded the fucking app. That's why.
yeah, that might be why.
Or we got views.
So yeah, Harm's Way Podcast for everything. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer.
Deezer.
That's all I got. Good episode. Looking forward to Friday. Hopefully I can make it through this week.
We'll be fine. It's already Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yeah, that's really all we got, guys. Give us a like, comment. Share. Oh, somebody shared our shit
Tease.
the other day. Tease, yeah. A little tickle. Give us a try. First one's free. Show us some love, because as always, you know, we love you. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.